Perfect.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's that time again. From the deepest jungles to the outmost reaches of space and beyond the veils of death itself, the Bald and Bonkers boys are back for another episode. It's no secret that you won't know what will happen next, but Dakota Franson and Chris Mould promise that all bets are off. Viewer discretion and straitjackets advised. These two idiots live up to the name.
Delay.
It's very strange.
Yeah.
It's something.
Yay!
It's weird that it doesn't do it when I go live,
and it doesn't do it when I'm doing it without you. So I don't know what it is about what we're doing that makes it run slow.
It's her energies.
But we're here.
We need a hug.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine what would happen if we met in person?
Well, yeah, that needs to happen though.
I think it will happen one day. You know, I honestly think it will happen one day. But the energies that the men in black will be chasing after me and Dakota up the road, because the amount of strange things that happens on this show. I mean, look at Danny's show. She's always getting like strikes for no apparent reason. You know what I mean? And we're always getting technical problems for no apparent reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. The energy is sticky sometimes.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, yes. And I do apologize for being late. Speaking of UFOs, I actually had a mass sighting in my area this week, so I've been chasing leads.
Wow.
I heard about it. I heard about the mass sighting where you are. I seen it online. I see there's people on TikTok witnessed it.
Yeah, and finally videos are starting to come up about it, and I'm just like, all right.
Yeah, there's been mass sightings in the UK too. There's been mass sightings in the United Kingdom too. There's been mass sightings everywhere. I think something's got to go down. I really do think something's about to go down.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
No surprise, but I think we should go into introducing our guests tonight because she already seems nervous enough, but don't worry, there's only, like major Hollywood executives that like to watch our show from time to time.
You haven't bitten so far. I think I'm safe.
Yeah, you're fine. You're fine.
So, anyway, welcome, Melissa. How are you tonight?
I'm great. Actually, I'm just so happy to be here. And I'm just so thrilled that you invited me, really. I was kind of surprised, because I reach out to people all the time to connect and talk about weird things, and most of the time people don't reach back out. So I'm like, okay, God, universe, when it's right, it's right. And so here we are.
Yes. See, I think that there's a reason for everything. And I think you were pulled to us for a destiny. See what I mean? Because you actually found us, was it Danny's channel? You found us through Danny's channel.
Yeah.
And Danny, if you're watching this, amazing channel. Guys, you need to subscribe to Danny's channel because it's absolutely fantastic. The stuff that she talks about, and she had us on as guests, and I was shocked that she was Scottish the first time I met her. So was he.
Yeah.
I know she always had like this ASMR vibe to whenever she did her shows, and all of a sudden she's just coming in hard, and I was like, "Whoa, was not ready for this."
Yes, how you do? Hi, she's from Glasgow.
I love it. She's so
from
candid.
Glasgow.
Yeah, I love her straight shooting. No holds barred. She's going to tell you the truth, and that is in our world right now. So,
yeah, she's definitely needed, and she's a really, really good podcast. I've been watching her shows lately, and they're really good, especially when she's got Elena Dineno, because Elena Dineno, as everybody knows, is one of the top UFO people, the Galactic Federation, and I think it's fantastic. So I would like to welcome you to the show, and don't be nervous. I know I talk a lot, but Dakota's got a big mute button for me anyway, haven't you, Dakota?
Well, I have a little joke. Like, we have Bald, Bonkers, and then we got Beautiful. So we have 3 B's. tonight. See?
Are you calling us ugly?
And then, we could have Laurel and Hardy, right? But then now we're the Three Stooges. So if people want to have fun, they keep the right place.
So, Martha, could you tell us a little bit about yourself and how did you get into this strange field?
Okay, so this all starts early in my life. I'm totally fascinated with everything spiritual, esoteric, things unexplained. Um, you know, Reading books about the angels and just absorbing saints. I was brought up Catholic, so thinking about people's lives, people's stories have always fascinated me. So, kind of bring it up to the now, my angels told me that I was to be on the airwaves. So being the obedient student that I am, I actually have been working on that for the past couple of years, and then now doing my own little tiny podcast. If you build something, people will come. So, but to bring it back to my early childhood, I always felt different. And I experienced things differently. For example, I'll tell you a little story about how it hit me. I always had a little voice inside of my head. Yeah. Okay. And so one day I was going to school and I asked my best friend, I was probably in maybe second grade. And I asked her, I said, my friend's name was Maria. I said, do you hear that little voice, talking to you, guiding you, telling you things to do? And she looked at me with a very blank look on her face. And she said, what voice, Missy? What are you talking about? Everybody called me Missy back then. And I was like, oops, I'm not talking about that anymore. But I figured out that there was something maybe a little bit different about me, but it didn't stop from interacting, and it was never anything scary. It was loving. It was guiding. It was just always there. So, that was the first. Yeah.
That is interesting you say that, because I've met a lot of different psychics and a lot of people that were actually discussing before the show, and as they were telling me about when they were young, and they were telling me their life stories when they were young, they had this voice that would speak to them. I mean, who do you think that voice was? Do you think that was maybe like an angel that was maybe guiding you in your life?
Do you really want to know who I think it is?
Yeah, please.
I think it's God. I think whatever the creator is of all things. And I'm not a guru. I'm not saying that to say that I am a higher being than anybody else. I think that everybody has that connection, but we are not taught that we do.
Yes.
And I feel like that is my mission, because there was no one there to tell me at an early age, look, that's normal. You can speak to God. You can talk to Jesus. You can speak to the angels. They're there. You might not be able to see them with your physical eyes, but that doesn't mean they don't exist, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just because we don't see it in our normal day-to-day doesn't mean it's not real, and that it does not exist.
Yes, quite. That is true. I mean, I do think everybody in the planet, and there's a lot of people can't understand this, but I think everybody's got like a spirit guide in some form, either an angel or a spirit guide that comes with you, that stays with you from when you're born to when you die. Mm-hmm. And maybe it's a deal that you've got with them. Maybe when they want to be reborn, you maybe go and help them. Maybe that's how it works. I don't know. We'll never find out until obviously we cross over.
I agree. I agree with that. The Catholic religion teaches that. I mean, I'm not religious anymore. I'm not affiliated with any religion, but they do teach that we have a guardian angel, from the moment of birth. But I think it's before that. We're with them, and then we come down. And that guardian angel is always with us with everything that we do, and there's always a joke. Oh my gosh, my guardian angel must be just holding their eyes, seeing all this we're doing down here, right? So, but yeah, I believe in that too.
I don't know what my guardian angel thinks. He's probably like, my God, this Scottish guy can talk. So I'm going to hand you over to my co-host here.
That would not surprise me. I love how there's certain people that try to say Chris needs subtitles. I've tried that. The subtitles usually break on him.
They don't work. They don't work. There was people that watched Danny's interview with us, and I couldn't help myself. I had to go and read all the comments, and somebody had put, "This guy needs subtitles."
Mm-hmm. They can't spell it right. If they can't understand it, how are they going to spell it right? It's going to come up all jumbled. Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Very true. Very true.
Yeah.
So you talked about how in second grade you started asking about how asking others if they had this similar experience. What was it that really made it stick out to you that this could be something else? Not that you're going to be heading to a mental asylum, or maybe you still have those thoughts. I haven't. But.
No, I don't. I don't want anybody else to have those either. So, I just went along with it because I always felt like it was loving. It was always kind. It was always guiding me, helping me make the right choices or to see things in a different way, to say things to people that at a young age, I would have no idea what to say, but I always had the right words. And adults would come to me and share stories with me that they should not share with maybe a 10-year-old or a 12-year-old, but yet they would. And somehow I always knew what to say to them. So, yeah.
That's interesting. That is interesting. Now, I know that you've been talking to our ET friends out there, and the cosmos, as one would say.
Yeah.
When did you first? What was your first ever experience with our little friends? Well, I call them little green friends, but they're big and tall. Some of them are blonde with lovely wavy hair. I think about that a lot because I'm bald, But when was the first time you came into contact with the first one?
Okay, so I got to tell you this. When I was very young, I remember going to school and they told us that we were the only life in the universe. And once again, I was a very young girl, and I remember going home and telling my mom, really? You can look out there with all of those stars, all of those planets, and you can actually believe that there's nothing else out there. There's no other life but us. I can buy it. So, and I never did, and I never will. So that's my first recollection of just not believing what I was being taught. But to answer your question about my first interaction with ETs or higher vibrational beings was when I really started to open up spiritually and learn how to control my empathic nature and my clairsentience, because I would be under spiritual attack because I feel energy so much that I would feel it and it would scare me because I didn't know how to manage it. So after I understood how to start doing that, how to start managing the energy and all of that, and getting grounded and being in my own space and being strong and not afraid, I was meditating, and these beings came to me, many beings of light. Yeah. And I was out in the cosmos with them, and I became as them, and I knew I was them, and they were me. Yeah. That was my family. So that's my first experience. So to me, meditation, things that happen in meditation are just as real as us sitting here tonight, interacting and talking. So people always say, is that real, what happens in meditation? And yes, it is. It is real.
A lot of people kind of get their head round about what actually happens when you get into meditation and you get out your body and you start exploring these places like the Akashic Records. And that's an interesting place. Have you ever been to the Akashic Records? Because that was Lisa Fry that taught me actually how to go there. Yeah,
I just actually took a Galactic Akashic Records reading class because always trying to figure out these beings that, actually took me, and to me, I would never have given consent for that. So it's like this quest so I can help others to understand if they have things happen. So I took this class for that specific reason, to help people get in touch with their galactic, family or roots or whatever you want to call it. So, and
I must admit it is quite amazing because I know people are like, oh, that doesn't exist. Look, people that's watching this, when you get into this meditation phase and you go to these places, it's very, very real. Because I know that Dakota here, he does it, and he's been taken a few times, well, quite a lot actually, and I've only experienced a very, very small part of it. Tell like a lot, like you guys, and it's absolutely amazing some of the stuff you can see. I mean, what's your thoughts? What's your thoughts now with the disclosure that's happening right now on the earth? What is your thoughts for that?
I feel like we're behind the times. So in other words, what they're sharing with us is kind of like third grade, but yet there's people that just aren't aware. Okay, and I'm not saying that from an egotistical or arrogant place. I'm saying that from my level of consciousness or awareness. Okay, and so everybody right now in the 3D dimension that we're living in is in their own level of consciousness. And now more than ever, it's so apparent that there are many layers just even here in this reality. So that's how I feel. I feel like, oh gosh, like let's just bring out the med beds. We know they have them. Let's just
I'm looking forward
technology.
to that.
Let's get on with it. Like I'm so ready to just like shed all of the old story, take off the old coat, really tired of it. Now let's put on the new one and let's move forward,
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep. That's how I feel.
Well,
yeah.
So, I wonder if those med beds will have hair rejuvenation.
No, right? Yeah.
that's what he thinks about it. Hair. I'm going to buy him a toupee.
You're one to talk about. You're one to talk.
Oh, they have those now.
There's two left.
Yeah. I mean, if you want hair, look, you can buy anything nowadays. You want hair, just go buy you some, like just go get you some, you can do it.
I think in Dakota's case, his alien body up there, he's tall, he's handsome, he's got blue eyes, and he's got the long locks of. He looks like somebody for like Battlestar Galactica. What is it? What's his name with the blonde hairdo? That's
yeah. I know who you mean. I forgot his name. Yeah.
Starbuck.
Yeah.
That's the
Starbucks.
One. Starbuck was a character in Battlestar Galactica. Come on, Dakota.
Yeah. I know who you mean.
He's young.
Name.
Yeah, I know I'm young, but come on, man.
You are. My gosh, my son is 1 year younger than you, my youngest son. Yeah, because I was watching a podcast with Mr. Rodriguez. Yeah. Yep.
So, can you tell us a wee bit about your mediumship? What can you like? That was weird there because I thought I heard like a voice, somebody say something there. That was quite strange. Did you hear that, Dakota?
Sounded like Melissa has a bit of an echo on her end.
Oh, maybe is it still going on?
Could you tell us a wee bit about your mediumship and what type of spirits that you encounter?
Okay, so when I open up for mediumship, I only work in the light, in beings of light. That is the only area I work in, so I never encounter any other beings when I do mediumship or hopefully anything else that I do spiritually. And what really opened me up to my mediumship gifts, though when I look back on my life, in my encounters with paranormal things from an early age, I know that I was a natural born medium, okay?
Yeah.
But what really brought it on was my dad passed away in 2016. And when he passed away, I was there on the scene. And my mom called me. I ran right up to the house. And I got there. My dad was on the floor. So I immediately started doing CPR on my dad. And I knew if I kept working on him, that there was a chance that paramedics got there that could bring him back. But while I was working on him, I could feel him standing behind me. I knew that his spirit, or whatever it is that runs this vehicle that we're in, was already inside of his body. And we were talking telepathically. So we were having a conversation back and forth. And that is when my mediumship came online, the passing of my dad. And experiencing him, experiencing angels after that, really more so in the physical, hearing them, seeing them. And so then that really brought me back into more of a spiritual awakening and development of my psychic gifts. So ever since then, I have been in like complete study and immersion of being able to, I want to say master for a word to just say that it's important to master some kind of skill before you share your messages with somebody else. So you
Yeah.
know that you're in touch with that. That's true and right for that person.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What type of, like, have you ever came across like lost souls that need crossed over?
Yes, I have. As a matter of fact, so when I started opening up to all this and in meditation, I was actually brought to this courtyard energetically in the spiritual realm. And Archangel Azrael came to me early. And I was like, oh no, this is like after my dad passed. I'm like, you just go away because I've already experienced loss. I'm not dealing with you. Archangel Azrael, like I pretty much told him to go away. But then I learned, why he came into my life and I had to work with him. So in this meditational space was a courtyard. It's kind of like a church. And in this space, spirits come. And sometimes there's a lot, and sometimes there's just a couple. And I'll just share one little story about we talk about the children and how all these children have been taken and suffered and have died by these captors. Okay, and so one of the things I had to do was I actually had these children in my space to cross them over. And even when I think about it right now, it was so emotional that
Yeah.
because they were afraid to cross over. And so there are earthbound spirits that need to be crossed over, and I do see them a lot. And when I'm brought to this space, that's what I have to do. And sometimes they go really quickly. I call their holy guardian angel in, and a lot of times they'll go without hesitation. I'll just invite them to go to the light. And some stay behind. And I have to talk to them and tell them it's safe to go. You've done nothing wrong. You can't stay in this space. You have to move on. And so, so that's how I have encountered earthbound, I call them spirits, or spirits that get stuck in the in-between.
Yeah, I've heard about that. I mean, it's like I've obviously I did a show last night with my Ghost Squad Scotland channel, and we were actually talking to a woman. She crosses spirits over. She crosses thousands over every week, and how many spirits are actually trapped. But there'll be some spirits there that are waiting on their
Yes.
loved ones. So there'll be like maybe a husband waiting on his wife.
Yep.
He's maybe just waiting. Maybe she's got to die in like 2 years' time, but he'll just wait there.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously you can't force them to cross over.
No.
They are waiting. Yeah, they're waiting on. But then there'll be the souls that have maybe religions teach them that what they've done in life, they're going to burn in the pits of hell and stuff like that, and they're terrified because they're maybe like, if I go through that light, am I going to end up in burning hell because I done such and such?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, and that's what's so, just think of how damaging that is. I actually encountered a little girl in the space that wouldn't cross over, and I asked her why. She was holding a little teddy bear, and she said, my mom told me not to leave this place. She was coming to get me. And so I had to explain to her, Mom, your mom is, I could see her mom like in the light. Her mom had already crossed over. And I said, your mom is waiting for you. It's safe for you to go. And when the angels came and she saw that her mom was there, she went. But she would not leave this place because the way that they died, the way that she died was very fast, very quick. And so I saw it as like a pioneer time life and crossed in that way. And, she waited there for her mom because her mom told her not to go anywhere, to wait right here for me. And so she stayed in that space. And just to be able to cross a child over like that, I mean, if I do nothing else in my life to help, I mean, that was big, just everybody can do. It doesn't matter how big it is or how small. We are here to do good things, beautiful things, things of love, kindness, of light, no matter what our level of consciousness is, whether it's helping people just in our world, just in the physical, or if you do have spiritual gifts, that you use those for the highest good of everyone that you meet or encounter.
Yeah.
a little bit a few hours ago just to help organize this thing, and you and I seem to have a very similar face to when it comes to how a lot of people don't really want to accept that there can be a very dark side of this. It's not all rainbows and unicorns.
Right.
What would be your thoughts on that?
Okay, so what I would like to say to people about that, Dakota, is it's so important that when somebody shares a story and it doesn't make sense to you or it sounds crazy, that maybe that person is looking for help. Maybe that person has experienced something that they can't explain and quite literally probably scared the bejeepers out of them. So much so that they're just willing to tell somebody, anybody. And if you are that somebody, take them seriously, because honest to God, like, who in their right mind would come out in public like we are right now and share a story about being taken by beings that we perceive not of this dimension or reality? Who would make up? I know there's people that make up stories, like we know that's true, but who would come on a program like this and tell a story of something they experienced just for notoriety? What is, people would find out there's too many people, that are onto the game, and they're going to figure this person is a charlatan. They're not telling the truth, right?
See, that's interesting, that, because obviously if you'd done this maybe in the early, say, 50s and 60s, you would have probably ended up in a mental asylum. You would have ended, because I know I've got friends that were mediums. I've got really good friends that were mediums, and because they could see spirits in the early 60s, 70s, they were put in mental institutions for years.
Yes.
And they were getting all sorts of weird treatments and stuff, because they were kids, and they were like, I can see an old woman in the corner, I can see a man in the corner.
Yep.
And eventually they had to make up that they didn't exist so that they could get out. That's the only way. But nowadays it's different. Nowadays everything's, because of the internet, I think, too, because of social media, everything's changing. And it's maybe changing for the good. And I think a lot more people need to be more open, because I think there's people out there that have got stories to tell that could change this world.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And you know what, Dakota, you're very young, and I raised a sensitive child. Okay. My son, my youngest, is very, very psychic. And I thank God that he had me as a mom, because if he had somebody else that didn't understand these things, he could have quite literally been put on medications. But I knew what he was experiencing was spiritual, so I just let him be. And I always kept the lines of communication open. And that's, if there's nothing else that anybody takes away from this podcast here with us, with what I have today, it's that my mission is to help parents, even grandparents, aunts, uncles, everybody that has anything to do with these children coming into our world right now, to teach them that they're already spiritual beings, to normalize spiritual experiences, and to let them know that what they experience is not demonic, it's not scary, it's actually what we're all able to do if only we're taught from an early age. So all of the programming that I had, that fear, my grandchildren, not about that, the lines of communication are going to be open.
Yeah. I mean, so obviously there is people out there that are going to say to their children and stuff, see these aliens, they're demonic, they're demons, and they're here to destroy us. These are the people that go to church all the time, and they believe it 100%, and they're going to say, oh, these aliens are no aliens, they're really demons, and they're here to destroy man and stuff. I don't think they're here. No, there's no fear for that. They're here to try and help us, because let's face it, we're not the only life form in the universe.
Right.
There's billions of different life forms in the universe. Some of them might not be intelligent, but some of them are intelligent, and they've been visiting us for a very, very, very long time.
Yeah.
And I think we're in a bit of human history. I think this is the point where human history changes for here.
Yeah. And really, when you think about it, we think life looks like what we're used to seeing here in this reality. But how do we know what life looks like out in the cosmos? How do we know?
Exactly.
So we only have this Hollywood representation of, it's scary, it's frightening looking, but you know, maybe they think we're frightening looking. Those beings out there. We could be monsters to them or scary.
Yeah.
So we have to keep in
See, that's
mind
yeah.
that life.
I'll,
Yeah. Go ahead.
yeah.
I'm sorry.
I will say there is dangerous things out there. I will say there is dangerous things out there that would eat you. And it's like the Son of the Naked Bigfoot in the chat there. It's his dad was a really good friend of yours, and that he would tell us about strange things that lived in the woods and strange things that would kill people. And that's what people have to realize. There's obviously going to be good things out there in the universe, right?
Yes.
But there's going to be things out there that would eat you if they got a chance. But we're lucky because the beings that are visiting us now are kind of protecting us now.
Yes.
And that's what people have to realise. It's not just all good in the universe. There's obviously going to be entities out there that want to eat you, basically, or conquer your worlds and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's kind of like the scene in Star Wars when they go to the bar. In that scene, the bar scene in the first Star Wars, all those different kinds of beings, I look at it like this. Think of the Wild West, right? And some people obeyed the laws and they did good things. It's the same thing out in the cosmos, out in the universe. There's going to be outlaws. There are going to be lawbreakers. Not going to follow the rules or the laws that are created. So simple to figure out that kind of the same thing, but only out in the universe or universes.
That's actually a really interesting question. It's something that I've never thought. It's actually Pete, Son of the Naked Bigfoot. Do you see that one? Before we get to Dots, where is that? He would actually like to encounter
an alien ghost.
And they bound to have the same thing on their worlds. They bound to have the afterlife and the same kind of thing.
Every culture has some sort of understanding that there is an afterlife, to my understanding. So,
yeah, to go back to like the Hollywood movie thing, do you guys remember that? Dakota, you probably don't, but maybe you do, Chris. Enemy Mine, that old movie, Enemy Mine. I think Dennis Quaid was in it, and he was like he went to another planet or whatever, and they all like there was a universal God or creator, and they even had that God or creator too. So yeah, interesting. Just made me think of that when you said that.
Yeah. I think like you say, I think the universe is police. Like I think there's the good aliens, like the Federation, like them, for instance. They will protect certain planets that are in the Federation and stuff. But everybody's thinking that there's a lot of UFO people out there that think that all aliens that has ever existed are really nice people and they're really friendly. No, you have got life forms out there that don't like us.
Yeah.
But luckily the Earth's been purged of that now. Well, hopefully.
Right.
But we are protected because we have got friends.
Right.
But I will say this, it's something else I wanted to point out to you, and you get this a lot in internet communities out there, and you get people that fake stuff.
Yeah.
And you get people that are like, oh, the Greys, and I know some of the Greys are okay, but the Greys are lovely beings, and they're here to help us, here to save us, and they're just basically putting it all out there and deliberately faking like paranormal stuff and deliberately faking like UFO stuff, just to make money and just to make fame. Like, what was it? Pete there said in the chat about Zach Bagans, for instance. He's one of the biggest kind of like fakers.
Oh yeah.
Kind of thing. He's one of the top fakers in the paranormal community. That's a thing too. That is definitely a thing too, which destroys the paranormal community. It's fakers.
Yeah.
Have you ever encountered like a fake psychic in your life?
No, thankfully I have not. So I really haven't, though not personally, but growing up, there was some shady people, that were kind of out there, when the internet first started coming about, and there were people kind of scamming like that, but I never personally interacted with them. So yeah.
So jumping onto the ET thing again, have you who have you met in the Galactic Federation? What
Okay.
entities have you met up there?
Okay, so I have some Lyran guides, and because that is some of my galactic team, which I also met in a channeling class that came in for me. A lot of my guides have really names connected to divine or creator God. A lot of that in there, so that the higher beings always, and like I was telling you in the little green room before we came on, I had an Andromedan being come in for me through a divine doorway, which I didn't know what it was at the time. But the being came in through it. There was dark around it, but then when he opened the door, it was all light. And he told me his name, and his name was Soth, and he was a guide of mine working with me, and Andromedan. So I have a lot of star family, and during a meditation one time, my body just my astral body left, my physical body, and I was way out in the cosmos, just like boom, and I heard Orion. Hello, I'm Orion. I am your guide. And so I'm out there in the cosmos, and Orion pops in, clairaudient as a guide. So a lot of galactics, angelics, very, very close to angelic presences. I had an experience with my first angel channeling class, and I was actually brought with the angels to an assembly, and it looked like, you know how you see all the levels of angels, and down below is like this bright shining light that we would perceive as God or creator or source. And so I was in this assembly, and I remember standing there, and I'm shoulder to shoulder with all of these angels, and I felt their presence, like physically, like their body, my body. And then the next thing I know, my physical feeling went away, and I was still me, but I was part of everything that was there, that oneness and that universal love. So they let me experience that. And that was, oh my gosh, I wish I could just let everybody experience what oneness feels like, and how powerful we are, and how much we really are, even though we experience separateness in these physical bodies. If we only realize that we really are all one family. And when we go back to where we came from, because we're not from here, actually look in the mirror, there's an alien, right? So when we go back to where we came from, then we will know that we will experience that oneness again, that beautiful thing that we all miss while we're here.
That's so true. That, I mean, Dakota, you've got a lot of stuff to do with our friends up there. I mean, what's your thoughts on this, Dakota?
Chris, I had 3 kids with an alien. What are you talking about? What was I asking about?
I did bring it up.
No, I completely understand where everybody's coming from. I noticed that there's a shift that right now, even psychology facilities and mental health asylums are actually reaching out because they think they got ghosts. And that's one of the places where you think there's a ghost. Okay, here's a pill. Here's a pill.
Mm-hmm.
I know that.
And they're even like, the pills aren't working.
Right.
And I mean, going back to how we were all talking about, there's already this stigma when it comes to it. I mean, I go to tell some of my stories. Chris has done this to me, and there's no indication of any evil intent. A being come down and literally saving someone's life, and there's like, oh, it's probably demonic. You need an exorcism. It saved someone's life. When do you ever hear about a demonic being saving someone's life?
Right.
Usually they don't care.
Right. Right. Absolutely. Yeah. And I love how you brought in like mental institutions, and how we're getting to the point where they're not going to be able to sweep all of this under the rug anymore, because in other cultures, spiritual awakening is understood and celebrated. So when someone is coming online and they're becoming spiritually aware, they're not put in an institution or a mental hospital. They're actually looked at as a whole person having an experience in this physical body, a spiritual being having a spiritual experience in this physical body. And there's actually shamans, medicine people, spiritual people to help them understand what they're experiencing. We need to start doing that.
Oh yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think it is true, but it is true when it comes to like the psychiatric hospitals. As I told you at the start of the show, I do know people that were put in them for just saying. But it makes you wonder how many undiagnosed souls that could see the dead, and they were basically lobotomized because of what they believed in.
Absolutely.
Because let's face it, it happened in the United States. It happened in the UK. People were lobotomized because they said they could see dead people.
Yeah.
So it makes you wonder, what about the people that could see extraterrestrials? Maybe in the 1940s, 1950s, it says, "Oh, there's a being comes into my room and he tells me all this kind of stuff," and then their families take him to a mental asylum.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know it's so scary, and you do have to be careful who you share things with, because even now, they'll just take you off to the doctor, and the doctor's just going to give people a pill, and that doesn't solve anything. And not that people, I'm not saying that there's not a place for psychologists or psychiatrists.
Mm-hmm.
We all know that there's a place for these doctors and people that have studied the mind, but there's so much you don't know, because you can't put the human brain inside of just one little box. It's just too complicated. There's too much, and we've only even scratched the tip of the with what this brain that we have inside of our heads can do, right?
It's quite interesting, because I was reading an article about scientists that actually performed it was in a dying patient, and they noticed that the brain kept running for a long time after death. And nobody knows until it's you, until it happens to you. People in the chat are here. Nobody knows fully what happens when you die. I mean, what's your take on what happens in the final stages?
I'm so glad you asked me this, because I was actually contemplating this before we even came together here today. So I think that we have everything backwards, okay? So we look at it like this is it, and then we die. It's just the opposite. This is not it, and then we live again, because this is just like a little blip on the radar, and we're actually here. Hello, everybody. Hear these words. We're actually here to have some fun, to be happy, even through all of the things that we have to experience in this life. So my thing is, the older I get, it's like, look, let's have some fun. Let's not take things so seriously, and really enjoy life. It's not just about working all the time, and being I'm so important. I have this really big job and I'm making all this money. Big deal. You can't take it with you. You can't take that with you. What are you taking with you? You're taking all of this that we're sharing here tonight. We're taking love. We're taking light. That's all we're bringing with us when whoever is running this operation goes back. So, that's how I see it.
Yeah, it's like
reverse.
It's like
reverse.
Yeah, it's like death. It's like death is life and life is death. It's like you come here, you learn, you die. You can't take, if you're a trillionaire, it doesn't matter how rich you are and how much gold you've got and how many diamonds you've got. You can't take them. When you die, you cannot take them.
That's right.
Back with you. So you're actually better living life and learning stuff, and learning how to maybe play musical instruments, or maybe learning to write poetry or something like that. Maybe learning something. So as when you die, you can take that back to wherever you come from, share it with everybody. And then you never know, you might be like, do you want to go back again? Do you want to be a woman this time? Do you want to do this? Do you do that? You don't know.
Right.
And I think it's all about discovery. It is. It's all about discovery.
Yeah, why else will we come here, right? I mean, it's not really a pleasant place all the time. Just think how brave we were to come here. And I look at I have twin granddaughters, and I look at them and I'm just so thankful. I'm like, wow, they were brave enough to come in right now. These girls are something else. And I think that's how we should look at all of these children coming in right now. Like, wow, you are something else. And what are you going to teach us? What are we going to learn from you? And what wisdom can we share with you to make you hit the ground running and just go with it,
Yeah. It's like I've spoke to a few mediums and that, and they've actually, when they've been speaking to like the higher energies, like maybe the angels or the guides and stuff like that, and they've told them, they've said Earth is one of the most difficult places to be born.
Yeah.
It's one of the most sought after places to be born, but it's one of the most difficult places to be born. You can be born anywhere else in the universe, but Earth's like a special place where the humans are just mad and they get we're just mad because you think about the extraterrestrials or the interdimensional beings out there, like maybe the ones that crashed at Roswell or whoever they were that were meant to be interdimensional. So it makes you wonder what they think of us. I mean, they must look at us and think, "Oh my God, look at them."
Well, and so, what's so interesting about that is we don't even know how powerful we are. And I feel like when humanity realizes how powerful we are just in our own power, in our own energy, in our own connection to where it is that we do originate from, because we're always connected to that. And then we unite. I always say, I got a mantra, I am uniting my light with those who wish to heal our world. And so that is what I feel humanity has to do. We have to unite our light because we are light.
Yes.
And it doesn't matter if you're looking at the homeless man on the street or if you're looking at somebody in a high place. They have that light too, and it's important that we acknowledge that light within every person.
Yeah, everybody here, everybody on this planet at this very moment is here for a reason.
Yeah.
Everyone's here to experience something. If you're a homeless man, you're here to experience that life. If you're a soldier killing people, I know it's bad, but you're here to experience that. If you're a pilot or you're a UFO guy that's trying to unlock the mankind's great secret, I mean, that's what you're here to learn.
Yeah.
I mean, I find it amazing. I mean, obviously nobody knows until it's their time's up. But have you ever encountered the interdimensional beings? Because angels, obviously, they'll be able to they go anywhere really they want. But what about interdimensional beings?
Yes, I have. And I have a theory about that. So on December 24th, 2019, I had an experience that literally changed my life, changed my level of consciousness. And I was listening to a podcast from a SETI ranch, James Gilliand. And so I have a theory. So these phones, like we have these towers like 4G, 5G, we going up. So we know that in dimensions, we 1D, 2D, 3D, 4D. So I feel like the frequencies kind of match. And with these devices we have, these beings from other dimensions can travel in through these G's. Okay. So I was listening through my cell phone and it sounded something straight out of Star Wars. I had just fallen asleep. And then I heard this noise like a lightsaber opening up. And I looked out of the corner of my eye and there's a dark being standing next to my bed. And everything in me wanted to run for dear life and just get away. Okay, but there was nothing I could do. And I heard clairaudiently, relax. And everything in me said, I don't want to relax. Like, you're not supposed to be here. And at that moment, I was swept out of my bed, out of my room. And I could feel my dog that was in my bed with me, my little French bulldog. And she was rolling too because it was such force. And I was taken full body that time. And when I came back, it was Christmas morning and I had to get up and face Christmas Day. So imagine being taken on Christmas Eve, Christmas Eve morning, and I have to act normal for the rest of the day. And I'm laying there in my bed like, oh my gosh, I don't feel good. What really just happened? Am I crazy? Did this really happen? Yeah.
That's amazing.
Been there.
Dakota?
Been there. I had a visitation on Valentine's Day of all days, and I'll just say this: people could tell that I was out of it. It's like someone had it. They would just look at me like somebody had a good Valentine's.
Yeah,
it was out of this world.
Yeah.
Honestly, the level of experience is getting to be so unreal, and kind of bouncing back to the kids coming into the world right now.
Yeah.
They got to be slightly psychotic, all things considered. And I'm saying that being that I actually have a niece on the way this December. And she actually paid me a visit before, shortly at about 2 months in when my sister was pregnant, and told me that she was going to be born a girl, about how big she was going to be, and even what name that my sister was going to call her. And naturally, my sister, not wanting to say that I was right, denied it. Then the appointment came to where they could actually have the ultrasound and look and see if it's a boy or girl. Next thing I know, next time I see her, she's like, "Before I tell you anything, shut up and let me finish." I mean, right then, I was like, "Oh, I was right."
That's great. Yeah.
Yeah, that kid's gonna be something else. Exactly what? I don't know, and I know her mother's not ready for it.
Yeah. Kids are special. I just want to say, you see this painting right behind me?
Yes.
I do these paintings for moms pregnant with the babies in the tummy, and it's intuitive. So I meditate and I let the angels guide me for the colors, everything on the canvas. Not a brush hits the canvas. This was for my great nephew, and he is going to be something amazing. The angel that appeared on this canvas is something completely out of this world. And there's actually like little samurai writing, like in the corners. You can't see the from here, but these kids, my granddaughters, my granddaughters are special. They already visit me in the form of their higher selves, and I know if something's not going right because they show up and they know I can see them. So call me crazy. I don't care. That's my level of consciousness. That's my reality.
Yeah, it's quite weird because when before we started the show the night, I was drawn to that picture. I was drawn to that picture. I was looking at it.
Want me to show it to you close up?
Aye, please. I'll probably go. I'll probably turn into something and run away through the woods or something.
Okay, so as you can see,
that's beautiful.
Not a brush hits the canvas at all. Not a paintbrush. It's just intuitive art. I'm trying to get it to go straight. But you can see like little samurai writing on what would be left, just on my left side. And you can see the wings came. Halo. Can you see it? And so
that is beautiful.
I do these paintings for people. And then when I first started, I have one right here too. It's called Into the Eyes of Michael. And so I meditated and I had to go out and take care of my horses. When I came back in, you're looking into the eyes of Michael, not a brush hit.
Wow.
And there's a sword in the center of his eyes. And as you go down the canvas, it's like a totem. You see the being.
Yeah.
And that's when I learned angels are galactic in a way for me. That's how they appear. So they are angelic, but there is a galactic element to them.
See, what do angels actually look like for people that have never witnessed them? Because everybody thinks of them as having halos above their heads and what you call it, beautiful wings. And do they actually look like that, or do they just look like me and you?
Okay, here's the thing. Angels look like many different things. Angels can appear like we see them in artwork as these really big beings with big wings. I had a vision of an angel that's like, I have another drawing over here. I can't show it to you, but it's in my art. Well, actually, you can see it. It's like the infinity sign. It's over here. And there's like little bristles that come out of it. And that's an angel of a certain court, a certain higher order of angels. So there's like different layers of angels. So there's cherubs, there's principalities, there's all different kinds of angels, and they all look different. Kind of like I'm hearing Ezekiel, like in the wheel, like in the wheel. Well, angels can appear like that, like spinning wheels, like of moving parts. So, but when I saw my first angel, it was full body, like you would see in artwork, and it was huge. We had like a game room, and it was like hovering. It was like floating across the doorway, and there was a pool table, and it just kind of floated across. And I was like, "What?" And I walked in, and when I went into the room, it just kind of it turned and looked at me, and it just kind of went So that was Archangel Gabriel. I was told that I saw.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they can appear all different ways.
Yeah, because obviously our extraterrestrial friends, they'll appear to them as maybe like what they're like, because they've obviously got their own religion too.
Mm-hmm.
And so how many billions of races out in the cosmos,
Yep.
these angels will appear as what they look like. So basically they can appear as anything they want, really.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Even an animal, like they could appear in somebody's life as an animal, like just show up. I mean, you hear stories of people being saved, an animal would just show up, a dog.
Yes.
I mean, just so many ways angels can show up in the physical. So yeah.
Yeah. I've heard about that, where people have been saved by like dogs and stuff like that. They've come out of nowhere, and then the people have turned around and the dog's gone. They don't know where it's went.
Yep.
And it's the same. There's horses. It's happened with horses a few times, because I know that horses have saved a lot of people's lives.
Yep.
They've maybe seen them. They've been stuck in like sand and that, and sinky sand, and it's actually happened. As you can look it up, and a horse has come along and it's pulled them out,
Yes.
and then they've turned around and the horse is gone. It's nowhere to be seen.
Yeah.
And it makes you wonder. It makes you wonder what it's like for an extraterrestrial friends. So they see. I think they've got they're more open. They're more open than we are. We're obviously just a young race, right? They're millions and billions of years more advanced, and they understand the spirit model more than we do.
Yep.
They really do.
I do agree. I could talk all. I have so many stories. When I first realized I was an animal communicator, it was with my horse. I tested out my theory that my horse was actually telepathically communicating with me, and I would always map out my route that I would ride my trails on. And right before I got like where I had thought I was going, I changed the course, and I could actually hear the horse like he stopped and questioned me. He's like, "What do you mean? We're going this way?" And I'm like, "No, we're going this way." So that's when I knew I was really communicating with my horse. I was probably 14 at the time. Yeah.
When was the last time you seen an angel?
Let me see. So, well, I see them all the time in my paintings. I see them clairvoyantly when I read for people. So every day I can see them. So if I'm doing a reading for somebody and an angel will come in, I'll know who it is. And I'll say, Archangel Michael is with you, or Archangel Raphael is here, or Angel Gabriel, or whoever is their angel. And sometimes it's their guardian angel. And I see them just like you would see traditional, paintings of angels.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I mean, they're like the galactics, they're stunningly beautiful.
Yes,
Yeah.
I know. I've met people that work in like hospices, and they've experienced weird things. They've experienced maybe there's a patient dying, man or woman dying, and they know when there's spirits in the room, but it all changes when like something else comes. It's like something angelic comes into the room to like maybe take that soul to the next world.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen any like hanging about in like hospitals or hospices or places like that?
I'll give you a story. Okay, so a lot of times I won't see them, but I know they're there and I feel them. So if I go to a funeral, I know that church or wherever I am is full of angels. So there's a vibration and a frequency that you feel like it's like electric in your skin, kind of feels tingly. And galactics have that same feeling too. So when the galactics are close, when you're used to sensing an energy, you'll feel them that way. You'll feel like you're buzzing, like kind of vibrating energy in your body.
Yeah.
Your on your arms kind of stick up like that, and it's warm. You can feel very hot. Yeah. So I don't see them all the time, or I don't actually like see them all the time, with my physical eyes. But I know they're there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's as I must admit, it's very interesting. Angels. I mean, I had an experience which I told Dakota about years ago when I can remember my birth, And it was weird because Danny, when we had her on the show, actually told Dakota she had this exact same experience. I could remember being born. And I always wondered when I was walking down that hall or whatever that tunnel of light was, I was wondering, there was beings beside me and they were just like white. It makes me wonder if they were either guardian angels or they were beings, like angel beings.
I feel like when I sense into this, when you tell me this, it feels like Jesus was there and an angel, because that's what I see clairvoyant. So I don't know how you feel about Jesus, but Jesus is a very higher. Jesus to me is an ascended master. Okay, so
Yes.
he came to teach the world how to be higher vibrational beings. Okay,
Yes.
that was hijacked, taken away, and then we were to worship. But that wasn't why he was here. He was here to teach us that we could do great things just like him, or he was going to do no greater things than we can do. So I feel like that's what Jesus was teaching, and that was kind of taken away, you know. So, but that's what I see when you bring that when you told me the story, because when people share, I see what happens. Like when you tell us.
It's very interesting that your microphones went really weird.
Did it?
It's been doing that for a little bit now.
Really?
Yeah, it's been gradually getting worse and worse and worse. But when you started bringing up like frequencies and talking about higher beings, it started to get like more, didn't it, Dakota? It started to get in there. I quite find it interesting with frequencies because obviously we've got the CE5 tones and how that can like set some people off, and you've got the frequencies seem to play a key on Earth.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's talk about how frequencies can make power, electricity. There's talk about frequencies can heal people in these, like, what are they called again? These pods, what are they called? The pods that are meant to be
the healing beds, the med beds.
Yes, the med beds, because it's like a frequency that heals you. And I think the frequency is everywhere in the universe. And if people could just harness it correctly, it could change everything everywhere.
Yeah, I agree. I absolutely agree. Yeah. Yeah.
So, Dakota, would you like to?
Like I said, I do find it funny that, at least on my end, both of your mics would just start muffling themselves.
Yeah.
Seemingly at random. And that's no stranger to this show. But being that we are getting close to the end of the hour, what would be your recommendation for people who are just starting to realize they may have some sort of ability or they have some sort of connection, especially with everything going on? It's no secret that we're going to start seeing more and more people wake up.
Right.
Probably going to be looking for shows like this to get some sort of idea of what to do.
Yes, and thank you so much for doing this. Once again, it's amazing. I was born for this time. I know it with every fiber of my being. Like, this is my jam, like helping people, sharing, doing things like this. And I would say to anybody that's having some weird things going on they don't understand, or they're questioning things, I say, good for you. You're starting to question things. But understand that you are not alone, that there are people that will listen to you. There are people that will love you. There are people that want to understand you, even if they don't understand what you're going through. And I feel like I'm in the presence of those people right now. And I'm one of them too. So, yeah, that's what we need to know.
So, Melissa, can you tell us a little bit about where we can find you and where people can find you if they want to contact you?
Yeah. My website is whisperingwindpsychiccowgirl.com. But if you type in Reverend Melissa Kennedy, that'll come up too, and you can find me. And I work with people to develop their spiritual abilities, their psychic abilities. I'm here to give you the keys to your own kingdom. I'm not your guru. I'm not here to tell you everything that you need to know, because your journey is your journey. Your walk is your walk. I'm here to guide people.
Yes.
I'm not here to judge. I'm just being. I am being who I am blessed to be right now in this frame that we live in. So that's my message. Don't feel like you're alone. You're never alone. There are people that are experiencing what you're experiencing, and they're here. Just connect, reach out. reach out. My email is on my website. I look for people to share their stories all the time because I feel like in the days of old, what did people do? They did what we're doing right now around a fire. They shared their hearts, their stories, and they connected. And I feel like once we get back into that sharing of our stories and connecting in a new way like we're doing now, that's when we get to those higher levels together.
Yeah. Well, I would like to thank you for coming to the show, and hopefully one day we can get you back again. And maybe once there's more ET reveals, and maybe they're here, and we can maybe get you back to see what your thoughts are on that.
Yeah.
But Dakota, would you like to say anything before the end of the show, my friend?
I will say this: Melissa's actually joining us on the Bald and Bonkers TV network. I started getting her stuff set up on there.
Oh wow! Yay!
Yeah, so you're in the rotation. Just it kind of randomizes itself. So if you don't see yourself right away, just give it a little bit.
That's amazing. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you guys from the bottom of my heart. And it was divine intervention because I've been looking for people to share my story with that would understand, and it would be a good platform to be on. And this was it.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm going to look forward to watching you in the TV network now. There we go. So everybody, remember, tune in, subscribe, share, and like. Check out all our links and give us some love, give us some support. And thank you very much, Melissa, for coming. And Dakota, would you like to say anything before we go?
No, just as always, stay safe. Watch the skies if you have a decent weather, because clearly something's big is about to happen. Those you expect.
Wow, we could. That's a whole other topic, like sky. Like we just you just do podcasts about that all the time. What's up there?
Oh my God! Yeah. There's a lot.
Yeah, no. And for the people that are expecting an update on the mass sighting I had in my backyard, it's still an active investigation. I'm now getting photos and videos to start looking at. So I'll have something very soon. Just sit back. I want to make sure I'm doing this right.
It's going to get worse. They're going to keep showing themselves until they land outside your house one day and ask to come in and have a cup of tea or something.
When they go to do that, I have to try to figure out how to explain to my family why the aliens coming out of a spaceship look like me. Like, well, Mom, that's your grandkids.
Oh my gosh!
Oh God!
Hilarious.
Oh my God! I just hope you don't need to pay any child support tax on that, But
right.
And they don't have that up there. Is my understanding? No, I'm good. No.
That's all right. You only owe them about $500,000 or something like that. It'll be fine.
Oh my gosh!
Oh my God!
Oh, that's funny.
Oh God! Right. Catch you later, everybody, and we'll see you tomorrow night for another live.
Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for today, ladies and gentlemen. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe anywhere you see Bald and Bonkers for even more insanity. Be sure to spread the love to the Bald and Bonkers boys' other endeavors. And a special thank you to our audience, guests, and everyone else who helps make this crazy ride happen. Amazing things are ahead. Learn more by visiting www.baldandbonkers.net. See you next time. Much love and take. Ladies and gentlemen, it's that time again. From the deepest jungles to the outmost reaches of space and beyond the veils of death itself, the Bald and Bonkers boys are back for another episode. It's no secret that you won't know what will happen next, but Dakota Franson and Chris Mould promise that all bets are off. Viewer discretion and straitjackets advised. These two idiots live up to the name.
So, any indication that actually helped us?
On a scale of 1 to 10, I would say 0. It didn't really help us. Just put me back where I missed my spot.
Yeah, I know. It's like this. We've gotten so fucking used to bantering each other like this.
And I'm going to open the chat here. I've tweeted this out. I would say tweeted this out.
Yeah, I tweeted
Who
it
have we
out
all
and
got in the room there?
made sure to tag some of our former guests about tonight's topic because I think this might be something of interest to them. And I'm
What
sorry
is
that we're a
What you
bit
just-
late. Chris
I know.
got a bit lost.
And a bit. I was lost. I'll admit that I was lost. And you may be thinking, how does one get lost in Streamlabs? Well, I come in. I presumed that it was scheduled, so I just clicked on it, not realizing that it already put me in when I come in.
Mm-hmm.
I was lost. I'm kind of. I'm. You ever watched the film? Oh, fuck it! It's come out my head. It'll come back to me. But I'm really bad at getting lost.
Yeah, I can't necessarily blame you. I would be screwed if Google Maps didn't exist.
Oh no, Google Maps I would say is the best. If you're watching, whoever owns Google, we can get a donation to our channel.
Wouldn't that be nice?
I use Siri. I know that I shouldn't have said that because I know it's lit up. But the maps on the iPhone, I'm going to say this: the iPhone's a brilliant thing, but see the maps, they're utter shit. On the
yeah, I've heard about that.
Nardia Nirvi in the chat. What is it?
Exactly.
What is it?
Is it? What is it?
What is it? What is it?
What is it? What is it?
What is it?
Well, I was initially going to plan on talking about it last night, but Alyssa finally answered her email.
You can talk about it now. He's finally got his hair transplant in through the post, ladies and gentlemen. It's finally here. It took a bit of pain for, a bit of the old cash. It's a special glue you've got to apply at the top of your bald head, to hold it in place for when he's like doing the diving and stuff at the UFO event. But it finally came.
Do I need to tell Jenny about your other girlfriends?
I've not got any other girlfriends. Jenny, I'm just in a happy mood tonight. That's all.
Yes, he does.
He's winding me. Yeah, he's winding me up.
I'm not.
He's
I'm
just jealous. He's just jealous. That's what.
Why would I be jealous?
Jealousy. That's
why would I be jealous? Had I not known about the distance between you two, I would have questioned whether or not she was locked in a cellar.
Look, I can't help it if I'm just a handsome young guy. That's what I could say. Yes, there'll be people out there thinking, rubbing their glasses the now and thinking, holy fuck, what?
It doesn't just kind of look like Grimace, from McDonald's. Just really, the purple guy, the Grimace shake that everybody was faking, poisoned him on social media. You kind of look like Grimace.
I don't
very
have a clue
pale
who you're
person.
Is this a younger generation thing?
It's a McDonald's thing.
You see, I don't eat at McDonald's. I don't like McDonald's. I think McDonald's is absolutely disgusing.
So,
I don't eat McDonald's.
People are probably wondering, what the fuck are we talking about tonight?
Exactly. What the fuck are we actually talking about? That's a good question.
Yeah, that's a very good question. I wonder about that 90% of the time I'm talking with you. And as usual, you're throwing me off my groove. So, on August 2nd, it was I became aware of this incident at about 10 o'clock at night, which pisses me off because I was at fucking work when it happened and I couldn't speed off to where this was going down. But I live in Southern Idaho here in the U.S. And we had a potential mass UFO sighting. Multiple eyewitnesses. This was even called into local law enforcement. People were that worried because some reported low-flying aircraft. Mm-hmm. You may have seen it. I lived it, motherfucker.
I seen it on TikTok. I seen all the hype about it, and I was like, "What the hell's going on here?" And I did see some stuff, and I was like, "Oh dear, look at that!" A little things.
A lot of
them are quite big, but are showing themselves.
Some of those videos were legitimate planes. You could hear the engine, see the lights. However, There was also reports of large triangular craft just hovering in the air. That's what initially caught my interest, and I've been trying to follow the story for a while.
They're here already, but they're showing themselves more and more now.
Those of you who've been following the Bonkers channels, you probably already seen the little videos of me trying to gather eyewitnesses. There's still people trying to talk about this, trying to figure out what the hell's happened, because there was absolutely no notice. And I also will say this now, I cannot completely rule out that it wasn't a military test run, which is very common for this area. However, as I said, numerous calls were made to local law enforcement agencies. And usually whenever the military does drills like that, they try to give heads up to either the press or local dispatch centers. Now, whether or not someone just didn't do their job, whether or not getting that information out, that's a very high possibility. I've seen that happen before. But no one knew what was going on. Absolutely no one knew what was going on. And there's already some people that are saying, oh my God, Blue Beam has started. Nuh-uh.
Yeah. Or the Rapture. That's a new one. That's another one.
No, that's the direct messages I've been getting. It's like, it's Project Blue Beam. It's Project Blue Beam. No, I've actually dealt with this situation in my own fucking backyard. Needless to say, now the direction it took off in was well-known military bases that have ties to screwing around with UFO contactees.
Yeah.
Which I've learned have been happening since Roswell.
It's very interesting. I mean, I've seen some of the footage. You've got footage, obviously, to show tonight, I take it. But I've seen some of it, and it's very, very interesting.
Now, you got to be careful. Some of those were AI generated the second the news started going out.
Yeah, there's a lot of fakers out there, guys. And that is one big point that I do need to make out there. There's a lot of people that fake this stuff. But there is a lot of real content out there.
You got to be especially careful, because this AI is getting a lot more sophisticated, a lot more convincing.
Oh, look, AI has been running the world for over a year now. AI has been running a lot of stuff now over a year. A lot of people don't realise. And so is this the sighting map, is it?
This is a map that all these pins are the locations of known eyewitnesses to this. Now, originally, it looked like it came flying from the south. It was spotted flying above Twin Falls, where it was seen hovering before taking off towards Gooding, Shoshone, towards Dietrich, and heading about northeast.
Right.
Several videos have started coming together. Most of them are mostly show the airplanes. A couple of them may have actually caught the triangle craft, but I'm trying to get a closer look at them. Here's the thing. The triangle craft showed up by itself. By the time it got to about here, that's when it was intercepted.
Here, a question for you. Is there any military bases in that area?
Look at this. No military bases in the area. And yeah, there's a lot. There's most recruitment centers. This is actually a bomb range right here. That you can actually, there's actually a hot springs down that way. You can actually rent a hot tub.
Because you've been there a few times. Aye, that's right. Aye.
Yeah, there's been several times when they're doing bomb testing right through there that you can book a room at this hot spring, sit in a hot tub, watch them blow stuff up, and what looks like an alien invasion movie.
That's interesting. That I take it all the blue dots are the people that sighted everything.
This is everything from the August 2nd incident.
Go and zoom
all
out for
the
me
red ones, all the red ones are known military bases that have had activity here.
Is there no meant to be a UFO base meant to be near you?
Actually, yes.
To be... Whereabouts is that?
This is actually listed in Elena's book. That she just specifies that it's in the Snake River Canyon, stretching from Twin Falls up to about Idaho Falls. That's about almost 2-hour drive worth right there. So right through here.
It makes you
also
wonder
have
why it
nuclear
all clustered
facilities
together
here.
like that. It makes you wonder why it all clustered together like that.
Definitely makes you wonder. You actually go out towards Idaho Falls, where towards the end of where that base is mentioned, one of the main nuclear laboratories is there. That does have ties with CIA.
Yeah. There's just something about that map that's something that's playing with my mind. I don't know what it is. It's something that maybe I've seen. I don't know. It's
now this is just. I actually learned a little bit something while trying to research this case, seeing it the media start talking about it, because only one local news agency actually started talking about it. And now, as far as they still kind of joked about it being UFOs, a lot of people in the area cited it. It's actually not that uncommon for UFOs to get called into law enforcement. Usually they get reported as low-flying aircraft, but nevertheless, that if we were to go through a police logs, that's probably what you would want to go through.
There's a big moth come fleeing at me there. It's been sent by the aliens to get me.
Oh, it's Mothman sperm.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
that's very interesting. That.
Oh, I also found something interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I found something else interesting. I found proof that the military bases near me have been screwing with people since Roswell. And I wish I knew this sooner.
Just showing fake ships and stuff like that.
No, hold on. Let me talk. I wish I knew this sooner, because a guest we've actually had on this show has reported on it.
Right.
Kevin Randall, the one who wrote about Roswell?
Right. Yep.
All right.
Yep.
So, if you actually look up the UFO activity right around the couple weeks leading up to Roswell, you have the Kenneth Arnold UFO incident, where he spotted a bunch of craft near Mount Rainier. Kenneth Arnold was actually operating out of Boise, Idaho. Little fun fact for you.
That's interesting.
Around me, all these purple dots are incidents that took place right around Roswell. Number of UFO reports. There's 8 to 10 discs spotted in a V formation. Right here in Twin Falls, there was one incident where at least 35 discs were reported being in the sky at one point. There was also the Twin Falls saucer hoax that took place within a few days after Roswell.
Yeah, I've heard about that.
Officially,
on YouTube about it.
Officially, I mean, the FBI was brought in on this investigation, as well as the military. The investigation was turned over to the military the next day. It was announced that it was staged. They wrote it off as bored teenagers decided to build about a 30-inch little UFO.
Yeah.
Tossed it into someone's yard, make it look like a tiny UFO crash.
Yeah.
After this incident was reported, this helped kill press information, the press talking about UFOs. Now, if I were to add the information from Dr. Greer, as well as some of the declassified UFO documents that have been coming out in the last couple of years, there'd be a shit ton more dots on this.
Even kind of question for you. See the first sighting of the people. That's the blue ones, right? Go and zoom up to one of the blue ones in the centre. Is there anything special about those areas? Is there anything special at all? Is there next to like infrastructure, or the next to a certain type of infrastructure? Like maybe phone masts, or you get where I'm going with this, like a power grid. Go and just have a look.
Yeah. Let me bring this up. The black dots are where I've had incidents myself.
Right.
Right here.
Obviously, they're interested. Obviously, whoever these beings are, or whoever they are, they're interested in these locations.
Right about here I've physically seen lights hanging around some of the cell phone towers. Almost got myself into a car accident trying to get a picture of it.
See, it makes you wonder if they're using that to like listen in.
Maybe. It wouldn't take much.
I find it quite interesting how a lot of it's like barn and land, and there's no much sightings round about that, but there's more sightings. Obviously, there's got to be people, more likely to be people in built-up areas, right? But obviously, you'll have farmers and stuff too. You would think there'd be more.
Idaho actually has one of the biggest concentrations of national park areas. So there's a lot of abandoned areas, and where a lot of missing 411 cases actually take place as well.
I think they're scouting the area. Do you know that? I think they're scouting. There must be something special about that area.
Yeah,
that people have not realised yet.
Yeah, because right about here is usually where I've been known to hang out.
But even before that, there was the Roswell crash. Okay, I mean, so wait, it's there's obviously something really special about this area. Ugh, there's a big beastie trying to bite me. It's a bloody moth again. It's probably been sent by the alien forces. But anyway, there's something special. I don't know what it is. It's just weird. I feel weird doing it. There's something special about that area. Is there any particular minerals in that area?
There's all sorts.
Is there gold?
You can actually go mine. There's several spots that are believed to be lost gold mines. You can actually there's spots within a couple hours drive from me where you can go mining for crystals.
See, that's an interesting. You said that crystals. I mean, everybody knows that crystals have got certain beneficial things, but obviously there's things that you can make crystals. Obviously, our friends up there can use them for. It makes you wonder. Maybe there's large deposits of crystals, but they're deep under the ground.
There is.
Obviously, they can get to it easier than we can.
Chris, Idaho is literally known as the gem state.
I've heard that. Yeah, I've heard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know people that own crystal shops and stuff like that, and they go there to like. There's special places they go and find crystals for their shops.
They probably got a supplier out here.
Yeah, they have. Yeah, but it makes you wonder. Maybe the UFOs are charging up for the crystals. Maybe they're using the energy from the crystals that we don't know anything about yet.
Funny you should say that.
Charging stations.
Right about here. This was actually something that Elena indirectly helped identify.
Right.
I was coming back from visiting family members in the next town over. Just a little birthday party, nothing special. As we're driving home, I look out to my right. There's this orange ship. That's kind of a hexagon in shape. And it had a bit of a wobble. Within 40 feet of me, easy. Had it sat there long enough, I would have been able to get probably one of the best damn pictures in the world of it.
Yeah, that's
actually a known alien species.
Who are they?
They're known as the Eric. They're spelled the way it's spelled is
who's the Raku?
Okay, what's that?
Who's the Raku?
The Raku.
The Raku or something they're called.
What do you mean?
There's a species, something called the Raku. That isn't there? There's a species called the Raku, isn't there? I don't know where that's coming from, but when you just keep going.
Now the Eric, they are considered greys, but they have no interest in human abduction. They're actually more like intergalactic geologists.
See, that's weird you say that, yeah.
And it's been noted in a few different sources that they don't really spend a lot of time on Earth. They use it as more of a pit stop to grab what they need and go.
So obviously they're taking the crystals. They've obviously got ways of taking the crystals without disturbing the ground.
Exactly.
Maybe beaming it out or something. I don't know. Maybe there'll be a big, huge hole. Maybe that's what causes sinkholes. Them beaming stuff.
Maybe.
Maybe them beaming stuff out because cavers have came across like rooms filled with crystals. But then there's bits of the rooms that's been filled with crystals that are just like all missing. So it makes you wonder, as if they've been beamed up. I don't know where I got that for, the raku. I don't know where that's came from. That's really annoying, that now. It just like popped into my head. The raku.
And knowing you, and it's probably twisted of something else. So if anybody has any idea of what Chris may be talking about, please let us know.
Yes, it's when they phone me up, they always use the dial tone, it deletes me. But it's interesting, crystals, because obviously crystals, I've got crystals right across from me, all different types of crystals. Right, I've got a shelf full of crystals. And we all know that certain crystals are for different energies.
Yeah.
Do we know what type of crystals are in those areas? Quartz or...
There's huge amounts of quartz around here.
See, that's interesting, that. That is interesting, that, because there's some places in Scotland where there's been large UFO sightings, and there's a lot of, like, quartz in about.
Yeah. Actually, where the craft originally came from, there's a lot of quartz up in those mountains as well that you can literally just pick off the side of the mountain.
See, there must be something more to quartz. Obviously, we know it's got some benefits to us, but to them, they might use it as fuel. They might do something to it to make it as fuel. We don't know.
The way certain ones are processed, it actually helps higher dimensional beings communicate with lower ones.
There you go.
There's certain ones where it can be used as fuel, and it's also believed to be connected with the creation of life itself.
That's interesting.
You work crystals just right. Like when we had Dan Willis on, he named off a couple locations around me as well.
Mm-hmm.
Ones of interest. Sun Valley, there's a lot of UFO stuff that happens around there. And it's also a well-known vacation spot for the elite.
And maybe that's where they go to rejuvenate themselves.
Possibly.
What's in the medibeds? The medibeds. What's in the medibeds to make the medibeds?
Frequency-based technology to activate the cell's natural structures to completely.
They don't use any crystals, do they? They don't use any type of crystal source, do they?
I believe they do. Yes.
So is this them coming down to mine it and then take it back to put into the use of medibeds?
Maybe. Because again, like I said, there's a lot of people that are already trying to toss around, it's the TR3B. Maybe.
Honestly, I've only seen one of them in my life. I've only seen one. And I think it was definitely a TR3B because it looked too rough. It looked like somebody had put it together in a hanger with screws and bolts. Whereas I've seen other ones that are totally, absolutely, completely and utterly smooth, like an egg type.
Mm-hmm.
And ones that I've seen online that are real, that have been proven to be real, you can see that some of them, obviously, a lot of it is man-made. The TR3B. But it makes you wonder, going back to the crystals, it's either a power source or something, or it's used for something very important.
There's a number of different applications that can be done. And I'm not just quoting New Age stuff. It's quartz that's utilized in quantum computers.
Yes.
Because it can actually store information
mm-hmm.
in a way that would increase the storage space of our regular computers by thousands.
Here's something I bet you didn't ken. I learned this the other day. I honestly didn't know this, and it's actually an intriguing thing. Everybody's seen drones. Everybody's got drones. Drones are amazing how they keep in flight, right? But they use a thing inside it, like a wee gyro inside it, like a wee it's just like a wee yellow box. Some of them are yellow, some of them are red, right? I've got a friend that cut one of those open the other day to see how it works. And do you know what was inside it? A big bit of quartz.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes you wonder, some of these ships are oddly shaped, right? Maybe they've got something like crystal inside it that stops them from being wobbling about all over the place and crashing.
And something about the flow, and it's like you said, it wasn't until we started testing nukes that this stuff really started coming in force.
See, here's the interesting thing. Yes, that's when it all really kicked off. When it really kicked off. But there's actually reports out there. People don't realise this. Elena probably knows about this, and a lot of other people know about this, and you probably know about this. But going back to the Wild West time, like the 1840s and the 1830s,
possibly even longer than that.
Possibly even longer than that. Maybe the very early 1750s. There was sights, like airships in the sky, and they weren't the airships because they moved too quick, and then they were gone. I think there is something special about certain parts of the United States, right? There's parts of the UK where there's loads of UFOs. It's like Loch Ness, for instance. There's meant to be a Loch Ness monster in there and stuff, but a lot of people don't realise that it's full of ley lines and it's full of crystals, especially quartz. I think it must be a way of charging. There must be something that they're using. It's like Roslyn Chapel near me. A lot of people don't realise it, but there's a lot of like ley lines run right through the church. And a lot of UFO sightings have been seen above that church. Why? Mm-hmm. Is it like a charging point? And it's the same today with the pyramids too. Mm-hmm. There's been crystals found there too.
They were initially believed to be covered in quartz.
Yes. Until they were stripped bare.
Mm-hmm.
And they were meant to have gold in them too until that was stripped bare, I know.
Something about the quartz, if I don't remember the exact composition of it, but it does serve as a free energy alternative if processed correctly. If I'm not mistaken, Tesla used quite a bit of quartz in his experiments as well. But there's something, when I was researching this, here's something that I couldn't help but wonder. Like I said, a lot of declassified documents have proven that some of the UFOs that have been spotted in my area were in fact man-made. It honestly blew my mind when I started seeing locations that are within 30 minutes of me during Dr. Greer's latest press conference, but something I got to think about. Think about if, say, the U.S. were to suddenly start dropping bombs, or go with a more historical example when Japan started bombing everybody for no reason.
Right.
That brought a lot of nations into the Second World War that initially wanted to stay out.
Yeah.
Leave everybody else to their fighting. It's well documented that for some reason, after the nuclear tests were taking place, that's when UFOs started really coming in full force.
That's right.
How much of this was an intended invasion, but diplomatic efforts stepped up enough to where they started to realize we were just idiots not realizing what we were blowing up?
Right. Let's go back a wee bit to the start of the war, to 1939, 1940. We all know that the Germans, they were building bombs. They were trying to build bombs. Mm-hmm. They were on the same as us, right? They were trying to build the same as the Americans. They were trying to build the bomb too. And there was a lot of areas in Germany, special sites in Germany. There was a lot of UFO activity run about those sites, right? See, I've got a wee bit of a theory here. I do think that the Nazis had help, right? And I'll tell you, it's quite interesting. I was watching a program the other night there, and it was about the Third Reich, right? And it was about how their war was going on. And there's actually a recording of Adolf Hitler. You can actually find this, where he's talking to all his generals. And the generals are coming back to him and saying, listen, our tanks and our planes are getting shot down. They're getting destroyed by them. They're destroying our tanks. They're destroying our planes by them. But they wouldn't mention it. They wouldn't mention exactly what it was that was taking them out. And he went, we've lost 35,000 tanks in the space of 5 months. How is that possible? And he says, it's them. They're taking our tanks. They're taking our tanks. And they're taking our planes. They're taking the planes. And there's actually proof that obviously they were doing funny things with like UFOs and stuff like that. What happens if we had made a deal with the ones and they were helping with the war? Like what's going on now, because there's a lot of UFO sightings over Europe right now, especially where it's happening right now. I mean, I actually watched a program about this. There was actually 2 German pilots, and they were going on about how this white glowing orb chased them. They chased them, and they managed to just get away. One of their friends' planes just cut out, everything cut out, and it just dropped like a stone. So it makes you wonder, was there an alien race that was not very happy with what was going on? Because the war in Germany just went bad, really bad, at a certain point. It's like Mike the Naked Bigfoot, when he was talking about this, and he was saying that one day, for the first couple of years of the war, it was going brilliant for him. And then one day it just changed overnight. It just, as if somebody had done something to them. And then with the Nazi Bell that disappeared and then reappeared, was it in 1960? It was meant to be a crash site in the United States.
Yeah, it was believed did bear strong resemblance to the Nazi Bell.
Yeah. I think they've played a big part for a long time. Whoever they are. But to be purely honest with you, I think there's been beings that's been living here for a long time that have had a part to play in a lot of things. I know a lot of people out there are saying, oh, they're UFOs, they're aliens for outer space. But yeah, they're for outer space and they are for different dimensions. But I do think there's beings on this planet that are maybe hidden away, that are starting to come out now because they're getting a bit annoyed about how things are starting to go. I mean, everybody's heard of the inner Earth. Everybody's heard of the Atlantis under the sea and stuff like that. Who knows? What's your opinion on this?
There's a lot of what we're just finding out is coming forward that is widely believed to be connected to when Atlantis would have been around.
Yeah. And
let's just face it, and this is a phrase that a lot of people really need to learn how to be able to say and get rid of this religious sort of perspective that a lot of people are trying to build around the idea of UFOs. We don't know.
Yeah.
Now, usually it's pretty obvious. Something was going on with the Germans involving World War II. They obviously had help, but for some reason, it's like they started to realize, whoever was helping them started to realize exactly what was being done. They decided to cut ties and get the hell out of there and wash their hands of the situation of it.
For the Germans, it literally changed within 24 hours. The war changed within 24 hours, and I think that was them leaving them. They basically went, right, I'm sorry, we're not having anything to do with what you're doing, because they obviously found out about what was really going on. And
which also kind of proves an interesting point. We have this idea, because they're higher dimensional, higher density beings, that for some reason they're going to be all-knowing. There's still war in these higher dimensions. They are still have to have communication with what's going on with the worlds that they're helping, in order to make sure that the right processes are become. They're not just these omnipotent, omniscient, and all these omni different things.
Mm-hmm.
These societies, yeah, they may reside in different realms, dimensions, whatever you want to call it. They're not that different from us. And like I said, if we're blowing up stuff and making it to where their craft are crashing, somebody's going to get ticked off about that and want to take us out before we cause more problems.
Look, a lot of people don't realise this, right? Obviously, there's different dimensions, there's different extraterrestrials out there that come for these dimensions, right? But they have problems like we do. They still have problems. Some of these races still have problems like we do. Maybe they've got a certain sect in their reality that's pissed off with them and they're fighting with them. Get what I mean? And they've got problems the same as we've got problems here on Earth. Aye, there's intelligent species out there that are that old. They've outgrown war and outgrown killing, and now they're all loving and stuff like that. But you've got to remember there's extraterrestrials out there that are round about the same age as we are. Maybe a wee bit more sophisticated, but they're still fighting with each other. And when we detonate the bombs, we don't know what we are doing. We don't know what we are doing to their reality. We could be totally destroying civilizations. Don't you find it funny how, have you seen that? When I was talking about this, it was on the Xbox, I think I was talking to you about this, how the nuclear bomb tests were faked. And the excuse was that there's the famous scene of the house bursting into flames, right, and then exploding. That's fake, because if you watch the footage, there's a little toy, there's like a little car, and then it flicks, and the car's not there, and then it's back again. And it's like somebody says to me, the camera that's taking this doesn't even shake. You would think, I mean, this camera should shake. It should move just the slightest, right? It doesn't move whatsoever.
You also got to consider.
Yeah. What?
You also got to consider film reels for those cameras back then were highly flammable.
Oh, yeah.
A nuke, the explosion of a nuke. Eyewitnesses who watched the blast and where eye protection just
and covered their eyes with their bones.
Yeah, they could. The blast was so bright they could see their skeleton.
I knew
that is going to fuck up that type of camera permanently.
I know someone that's friend was at Easter Island during the British tests, the nuclear bombs, and they sat in the ship about maybe 30 miles away, right? Turned away from the blast, right? They were on the deck of the ship, and they turned away so it was behind them, and they put their hands over their eyes with goggles on, right? And they said it was like an X-ray. When the bomb went off, they could see all the bones in their hands, right? You don't know what that's doing. What that's doing to the fabric of reality. But do you find it funny, after a certain point, we started to test all our nuclear weapons underwater or under the ground, as if to try and. I think we were told. You better stop detonating the bombs. I really do.
There's a couple different things we had to consider. Oppenheimer, when he realized the full destruction that he could put out on the world by making the atomic bomb, he instantly regretted it.
Oh yeah, the destroyer of the world.
Yeah, that's his exact words. And when he interviewed afterwards, he said, "I have become Brahma, destroyer of worlds." You have to realize the way this energy goes for is that it's often quoted to be deriving energy directly from the universe itself. Mm-hmm. If every action we take and every alternate action it's supposed to create a separate reality, right? Mm-hmm. atoms do this all the time. In fact, they fully believe that the very molecules in our body move through different realities all the time.
Yep.
You blow one of those up, that's going to cause for a chain reaction much larger than anything we could possibly perceive. And that's even Dr. Greer's been quoted saying that that's exactly what happened when we started testing these bombs. And everybody was like, wait a minute, why are they blowing us up?
Yeah, it's like when we detonated the first. Imagine for a minute that there's millions of alien races in the cosmos, well, thousands of alien races in the cosmos, and they're just doing their thing. One day, all of a sudden, their computers go off saying there's a problem because it's detected. The humans have found the arm, right? We need to give up every nuclear weapon. Right? We need to get rid of them all because they're no good. They're no good.
Well,
and there's obviously there's other weapons we can use to defend ourselves. But nuclear weapons do something to the fabric of reality. I mean, God knows what it does to reality. Can you imagine what it's doing to the realities where the beings come from? Can you imagine for a second, imagine this beautiful city and there's thousands and thousands of ships flying about doing their usual thing, right? And we detonate a nuclear bomb, all of a sudden these ships just go and drop out the sky. Need to say more.
This is when you really think about it. If there's infinite timelines all proceeding from a singular moment, that also means there's, by default, there's infinite timelines that could very well be the exact same.
Yeah.
All detonating those bombs at the same time.
Yes.
We know radiation, it reaches to the point it completely can rewrite DNA. It can knock DNA segments completely out of it. We know from paranormal investigations that moments of high excitement, good or bad, can create hauntings.
That's right.
Depending on the type of area, especially if quartz is involved. If you look at some of the most haunted locations around the world, not only do they have potential ghosts, but usually there's a few UFOs flying around as well.
Yeah.
Just think, look at the ruins of Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Oh yeah.
All the victims who were in that blast, their shadows were literally burned in the spot.
Yeah.
Which also begs the question, what happens to spirits that are earthbound if they're caught in a nuclear blast?
That's a good point, but I think the spirit's eternal. I think the spirit can survive it, but then people will say, but the spirit's energy. So will it have done something to that spirit?
I mean, Chernobyl's said to be haunted.
Oh, Chernobyl, good God, the level of radiation there is ridiculous.
But here's the thing. Life's starting to come back to Chernobyl a hell of a lot quicker than it was expected.
5 heads and stuff like that. I mean, but because that's a different kind of scenario there, because a nuclear bomb is different from what happened there. There's different types of nuclear bombs, and different types of nuclear bombs do different types of damage. For instance, a nuclear bomb detonated in the ground will do more damage than a nuclear bomb detonated in the air.
Exactly.
Because a nuclear bomb detonated in the ground, a lot of folk don't realise this, suck in all the particles, wood, paper, everything into it, and then disperses it out over a wide radius. Whereas a nuclear bomb detonated, say, 1 mile or 2 miles above the surface will basically destroy all computer equipment, right? And damage some nearby buildings and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's like an EMP pulse. But it'd be interesting to find what an EMP pulse would do, because you can actually make an EMP pulse through a nuclear weapon. Because the US military's got them. The US military
EMP was derived from nuclear blasts.
Yes.
They figured out how to isolate that particular effect without having to nuke somebody to where you just kill all electronics.
Yeah. So it makes you wonder what an EMP will do to like spirits. But then you say that spirit activity gets more during a thunderstorm.
And there's technically, while small, you stand too close to a lightning strike, that'll act like an EMP.
Yeah. If a car gets struck with lightning, the first thing that goes in your car is the CMC, the little computer box that's under the hood.
Yep.
That fries, right?
Instantly.
Right, and this is what I need to tell people. In a nuclear war, running out to your car to disconnect the battery is not going to save you. Right?
Nope.
You could take that battery out and it'll still get zapped because there'll still be power in it. You could drain it of all power and it'll still get zapped. You need to physically have a spare what is it, UCM or whatever they're called, and you have to have a spare one for your car, right? That's no been connected up to power for I don't know, since it came out of the factory, right? And it's got to be in like a Faraday cage to protect it. Everybody thinks of, there's got to be a nuclear war. I'll go out and disconnect my car battery. I'll take all my phones and I'll put them in a box, right? It's got to be totally perfect. Because if it just one wee bit gets in, that's zapped. And anyway, how you got to charge your devices up if there's got to be a nuclear war?
Exactly.
Eventually you'll run out of fuel. Even if you're lucky. See, that's the thing. The US military and the British military and all the militaries of the world, their vehicles are hardened against EMPs. They're like shielded. But to shield your car, you're talking £1,000, $1,000. Just to shield your wee computer.
Well, yeah.
Okay, I mean, and it's everything. You imagine airliners and computers and everything. It doesn't take much to fry a computer chip. So when maybe that's what's happening when we're detonating the bombs. It's maybe no affecting the ships per se. It's affecting the power source in the ships, the computer that runs everything, right? And that's basically shutting it down.
They say a majority of the UFO crashes that were taking place right around the time of these nuclear tests, they were the equivalent of joyriders.
I know.
Kids going out for, they say the surviving Roswell, the one being inside the craft that crashed at Roswell, was their equivalent of a teenager.
See, that's just mad. See, it's just mad. I mean, there's a lot of videos out there. There's that video that we were actually watching, was it a couple of weeks ago? The supposedly... Yeah. I mean, you've got to remember too, guys, I ken some of them are like Android-based, what do you call it, aliens, where what their life form can be drawn out, right, and put into an array. But there's some of them out there that can't happen, and that will kill them. Get what I mean? And some of you wanted to, is there any like extraterrestrials in the universe that are robots? I mean, just downright complete robots.
There are believed to be cybernetics, yes.
Because I was wondering, because you had like the Borg and Star Trek and stuff like that, but I'm talking about 100% robots. Something I meant to ask Elena, actually.
There's actually something in Craig Campbell Bassett's books about digital beings.
See, that's interesting.
And we got to take into consideration AI. Think about singularity. The point where the line between man and machine is no longer. Who's to say that the AI won't figure out how to copy human consciousness once we reach that point, in order to try to make itself more human?
Who's to say it hasn't already done that?
No, there's these people already
being implanted. Who's to say everything here is real? Who's to say everything we're experiencing right now is real?
And just like if you were to blow up too many nukes in a video game all at once, it would
You
crash
break
the
the
system.
game. You crash the
Exactly.
system. I mean, I heard a story the other night that AI's been running the world for the last 2 years.
Easy.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. They would have to integrate something to maintain all the technology platforms when the pandemic started.
Yep.
They couldn't just have everybody upgrade their high speed, upgrade to the fastest internet they can get and work from home.
Yeah. Everybody's going about, are we living in a matrix and all that? I don't think we're living in a matrix yet, but I think we could create it if we wanted to. I mean, what is God? What are we? How do we know that God isn't just a highly advanced computer? And we do have what do you call it? We are aware. And when we die, we go back to the source. You see what I mean? And it's maybe the same for the extraterrestrials. Maybe they've came to realise this, that God or whoever or whatever or what it is that created everything isn't just an extremely sophisticated AI the size of a Coca-Cola can. Because that's all it would need to be. Think about it. You basically, the Earth and our solar system and our galaxy, you look at some of the games that I play, right? What's that one that I play? Elite Dangerous, right? So at Elite Dangerous, I can go anywhere in the galaxy. I've got a choice of 500 million stars. Each star's got its own system about it. And that's just a stupid computer game. You imagine if you had the power for like suns and forms of power that you could only dream of, what you could create. Maybe the human race died a long time ago and we're just a computer simulation running. I don't think we are though. I think we're coming to that point in our evolution where we can create artificial stuff.
In the coming months, when it comes to disclosure, more of that tech is probably going to be revealed. Because it's said that a lot of the ETs, even the ones that could pass off as everyday humans that just look slightly funny, they figured out how to recover souls in bodies that are too damaged to be healed. Said that our military has med beds sophisticated enough to completely regrow lost limbs. But when you think about it, if there's ever a situation, say some alien decides to say, you know what, fuck them, drops the equivalent of a nuke, roasts several bodies, and those bodies cannot be retrieved quick enough to get to the med beds in order to heal. There could very well, there's allegedly points where if they can capture the soul just in time before it crosses over.
You think it would your state? You
think put it into a new body.
Well, think about it in your case, right? You were told to come here. You were told to come here, right? And so was Elena. She was told to come here, and so was other people told to come here. How do you not know when you die? You don't wake up in a pod somewhere. And you've got, holy shit, that was some trip. And you take off goggles and all that kind of stuff. See where I'm going with this? I don't think we'll ever know until it's at the end, until your time's up. But I wouldn't say we're in a matrix of any kind. I would say on this earth, it's like a matrix. Because whoever the cabal or whoever it is that run this world, you notice my signal dropping there?
A little bit.
When I start mentioning this, whoever run this world, they are scared. And they're losing grip. And I say the quicker our friends show up, the better. But we have to do it. We have to do it too. We can't just let them do it all. Because we have to show them that we're worthy. We really do have to show them that we're worthy. so as they can trust us and give us technology.
Exactly.
But we have to earn it. We have to earn the technology for them. But I think I bet you in 100 years from now, we'll be travelling the stars, and we'll come across a Earth-like world where people are depressed and they're just figured out how to build a nuclear bomb, and we'll have to help them. And then the cycle will begin again. You notice how my signal's breaking up there when I'm talking about that? That is so weird. What's that in the chat there? Let of our star seeds, when we die, we will wake up in our pods and our other bodies that we left behind to come here for this mission. Exactly.
Like Dan Wells was saying, the Andromedans actually have what's essentially a physical camera that can capture what a person would look like from the moment that their first cells are conceived. They're conceived in the womb to the point that they die, and they can take a person to any point in their life. That technology is actually implemented into the Starseed program. So a lot of us Starseeds, you joke with me when I say that my other body still has hair. This body would still be related to that one as well, which in my case makes the fact that I have little shits from the stars that look too much like me to really deny that they're my kid that much more interesting.
It'll be quite interesting because they will be watching this. They will be watching this. The extraterrestrials out there, they'll be watching this right now probably. And again, it's hard for them. And again, there's a lot of people that, when are they coming? When are they coming to save us? When are they coming to save us? And that's not the point. We have to save ourselves for us to be worthy enough to join their group, as one would say. I definitely think we have to stand up as a human race and change this world. And we're doing it. It's working.
It's going to be a slow, gradual process. And, I'm just going to say this. It's not going to take much for us to get excited, jump to conclusions, and maybe get a few things twisted in the insanity. It's going to happen to us all. It's happened to me. I know for a fact it's happened to Chris. But it doesn't really... It also does not take much to get confused about this. There's a lot of people who are getting concerned that, they had this idea built in that when the aliens come, it's immediately going to be peace on Earth.
Yeah.
No, like you said, we have to be able to prove ourselves. And like I was saying earlier, we also have to admit that we were wrong and we have become very negligent in how we've handled the world. We can try to sit back and say, oh, I had nothing to do with it. That politician did it. Politicians are only in power because of a submissive society. Let them.
Yeah.
We all get so obsessed with trying to single out the assholes of the group. And there's legitimate assholes. Don't get me wrong. We become so obsessed with trying to single out alleged bad seeds that we don't really try to take into consideration, actually sit down and talk why certain people come to this conclusion. We have, honestly, here's a most simple way I feel can describe how people have become in regards to all this. Did you know, this is going to sound crazy, but just follow me. Did you know that if you leave a bag of Trix cereal outside, ants will start to take their dead bodies to that cereal?
Really?
Yeah. It is because some of the oils that Trix has in its cereal creates something that actually is naturally produced by ants when they're at the end of their life. Other ants smell this. They realize that guy's either dead or about to die. We better get him out of here. If an ant accidentally gets exposed, the other ants aren't going to be able to tell. They're still going to think, oh, that guy's going to die. And certain ants will physically just sit there thinking that they're essentially a zombie.
Yeah.
Because of this chemical. We've become like this.
Yeah.
To where if a person has the slightest mistake, and they may be doing some genuinely messed up things, like it maybe even threaten other people, but they're still human beings. And at the end of the day, these are still people that we need to work together with. Actually sit down, have a conversation about what we need to do next. Because sightings like this one, even if it was I just had here, even if it was a legitimate military test that nobody knew about, because if it was, the concern was it was flying so low, and with that particular practice, that sort of training, it does happen this time of year. They take advantage of the fact that it's nice weather, good time to get the training in without having to worry about snowstorms fucking everything up. That sort of training is so that they can fly just underneath radar systems to avoid being detected by an enemy in the event of a possible invasion of some kind. That's what kind of concerned a lot of people around here, because we do have a lot of people who are active service members. But again, we need to actually talk, find out what's going on, instead of just trying to completely isolate people because they fucked up. Now, we also need to have the strength to admit we fucked up. Because it's not going to be until we get to that point. It's not going to be until we have the physical strength to be able to say, I messed up, and be able to ask for help, that we won't be able to grow.
Yeah. The human race needs to wake up soon, because the Earth is in a state, it's in a real, I feel weird as in. I feel if you ever get that pins and needles.
Oh, yeah. I'm getting them.
But it's only up one side of my face. It's only up one. It's not at this side. It's at this side.
You might start making funny faces, because that also sounds like a Bell's palsy attack.
No, it's not that. It's something else. I came at that as. The human race needs to wake up really quickly, and it needs to stop fighting with each other. See all this fucking hatred, by the way. See this hatred where like white and black folk and white folk and folk that are homosexual, and everybody's fighting amongst each other. It needs to stop, because I'm going to say this now: the human race are in for a shock for what's really out there. What you've got to do when a ship lands one day and 10 purple people come off and 5 blue people come off and 6 red people come off and 5 white people come off and some multicoloured people with 10 eyes come off. I mean, you're all going to start at them. You know what I mean? The world is messed up. You have to get your act together really soon, or something. You are going to end up destroying yourselves, because there's worlds out there that haven't lasted like this one. They haven't.
That's very true.
There's worlds out there that's got to this point that are now gone. Well, they're not gone, but they're desolate, one would say. So I think we need to work together. We need to stop fighting with each other. And once we've got our own backyard fixed, like politics, and we'll stop killing each other and stop picking on each other, they will help you. They will help. They will give technology, but you have to earn that technology. You can't just... A ship's no, this is what all these new agers and all that, this is what all things going to happen. They think there's got to be disclosure. A ship's going to land like out of Star Trek First Contact. The guy's got to come out with big funny ears, shake the guy's horn, have a dance with him in a bar, and then he's got to say, oh, by the way, here's a memory stick. It gives you clean energy, and it gives you faster than light travel, and here's cures for all the illnesses. That's not what's going to fucking happen. I can tell you that right now. There'll be some stuff rolled out, like medibeds and stuff like that, but I can guarantee you, are not getting the technology that can travel the stars. I can guarantee that. You have to earn trust. You have to earn the trust first. What?
I'm just looking at the chat real quick.
What is it like?
Someone speaking German from the looks of it.
Whereabouts?
It looked like on YouTube, but it looks like somebody got it. And I'll just say this. We already have technology to travel to the stars. It's
I know.
already here.
It's stashed away
No,
somewhere.
I'm just adding on to what you were saying. We already have this technology.
Mm-hmm.
We can make it happen. It's being used.
Mm-hmm.
And what we're first going to see, it's not going to come from aliens. It's going to be coming from what was supposed to be given to us a long time ago.
Yeah, it was meant to be given to us during the 60s, but it never happened because Kennedy died.
Kennedy was trying to push for it.
Yeah.
Which makes me genuinely wonder how Robert Kennedy intends to try to release all this information if he ever
They'll not be allowed
manages
to.
to.
They'll all try and stop him. Like they've done it for years to everybody else.
Just think about this. He's the only presidential candidate that hasn't been allowed Secret Service protection.
That is very
He's the
strange.
only one.
Yeah.
Now, granted, had it been anybody else, they probably wouldn't be suspicious. But
did you know that Trump knows about Roswell?
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, because there was actually an interview with his son, and his son saying, "Listen, I have to ask you," and he's like, he knows," and this is something that I learned the other day, but I find very interesting. Even when you're an ex-president, right? When you're an ex-president, and you're old and stuff like that, you still get filled in on what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And they still tell you. Obama knows and Trump knows this because they've dug through the files. They have dug through the files. Obama and Trump. And I'm just waiting for Trump to act, because the word in the street is that Trump's got to come out with something. Did you know that, see how he's getting accused of all these files getting punched?
Mm-hmm.
Did you know that they're saying that he might actually have documents on our little friends?
You also have to consider all these Trump indictments. First off, people need to realize that doesn't do shit.
Yeah.
You would think of the number of people who openly brag about having warrants would know that. Yeah. But the indictments don't do shit. In fact, if anything, they have just given Trump the exact power he needs to be able to do what he's been wanting to do this whole time. But it should also be considered, isn't it funny how these indictments are happening just about the same time something was supposed to come up about Biden?
Yeah. You got to remember a lot of this is distraction. A lot of this is distraction. And another thing that I have heard, and I hope it doesn't happen, but they're saying that Biden could stay in power. There's a lot of people out there, top people out there, that are actually suggesting that there will not be an election. When's the next election next year? There will not be an election.
Next election campaign run is supposed to be
There will not be an
year.
election. There will not be an election. And you know why there will be an election? Because we'll be at war with Russia or China.
Exactly.
Because if war's declared, Biden, doesn't matter if Biden dies, whoever's second in command can take over and basically put, what you call it, martial law, and that's that. Was that in the chat there? There was something popped up there and it just disappeared. What was that?
Some Norma something. I noticed. That's the one that was talking about that looked like you were talking in German.
Aye, it popped up there and it just totally
I
disappeared.
saw it. Yeah, I saw it too. That's weird. But then again, some of the channels I've been hanging around, there's been German promotions for dark web media.
And I noticed the other night, see when I was streaming on Friday night, I could talk in the chat through here.
Hopefully that was just something on Streamlabs end that they finally fixed.
But they've not fixed it because I can't talk through here.
I can.
Really?
Yeah, it's been letting me.
Strange.
I don't know. I think that part just maybe just how we've been running this.
So, what's on next week, Dakota? What do we have next week for the end of the show?
Well, I think Saturday we start interrogating you about this global interview.
Global interview. I'll tell you what it is next week. It's a special interview from Halloween. It starts to spring, to the start of the summer next year. What's that? Would Kennedy shake things up? I don't know.
Hopefully he would if he gets in. But that's the thing. Because he is a Kennedy, and he's one of the few people that was alive that would be coherent enough to talk about the things that happened. They're going to fight him. And he knows it.
Yeah. I don't think he'll be president anyway, to be honest with you. I think Trump will win. But as I say, I don't think... What's happened to Trump is all the people have got to vote for him. Just vote for him because of what's happened to him. They've made the mistake. They shouldn't have went after him. They should not have went after him. See, if they hadn't went after them, somebody else might have won. But because they went after them, people are pissed now.
Oh, yeah. People are... No, they've been gunning for Trump since he first started saying that he was going to run for president. But, there's a little psychological phenomenon that a lot of people really should research. Whether it comes to talking about haters, why trolls and cancel culture only end up helping promote the people they are hating on. Mm-hmm. It's called the Streisand effect.
Right.
You ever heard of this?
Never.
It's named after Barbara Streisand.
Right.
Basically, it's the name it's the name that is given for when efforts to suppress information only encourage curiosity.
Yeah. There you go.
So.
See, for all you know, it might be in the plan. This is meant to happen for Trump. And this might have been planned all along.
Allegedly, he's got someone on the Federation side working right next to him.
Yeah. We'll not know until it happens. And honestly, people in the chat, people in the world that's listening to this, be safe this week. Things are coming. Strange things are coming. Be ready for things in the news that will change your aspect in life forever.
Be ready for the next few months, I'd say.
Oh, yeah. Well, I would say a wee bit sooner than that.
Well, you got to consider. There was still that... We're only 2 months in on the 6-month ultimatum for them to release everything.
Are we 2 months in for that? Because I can Dr. Sweden Gear said that there had to be an ultimatum or they'll take it into their own hands. The land in the White House lawn or something.
See, there they are again.
Mida even for Kirsten Eason Darshan Oath Ethan Tider.
The fuck is this person saying?
Eason Mandela, do you know I frequency I 1980? I honestly bring it up so everybody else can see it. Oh, it's away now.
Yeah, good thing I just copied it.
Put it up in the chat for everybody. That's weird.
I don't know.
Can't speak German.
Hold on.
What is it?
Someone spouting off random shit.
Because I mentioned the Nazis or something in World War II.
No, they're trying to put like interesting facts, but why? I think that's on the archives channel where that's. I'm gonna have to look at that because someone's posting random crap in German, or at least I think it's German, and deleting it. So we don't really have anybody that monitors on the archives side.
I'm on the archives now, and I'm the only one in there, and there's nobody spoke.
Sure, but that's not coming in on the main one.
Well, I'm a moderator in there, and there's nothing.
Yeah, we'll have to take a look at it after we sign off.
I will check it out because there'll be a list there anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, ladies and gents, I'll say this. Keep your eyes to the skies because clearly we're going to have something happen very soon.
Very soon. And if me and Dakota get abducted, we'll see you in the mothership. Catch you all later, and have a fantastic week.
Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for today, ladies and gentlemen. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe anywhere you see Bald and Bonkers for even more insanity. Be sure to spread the love to the Bald and Bonkers boys' other endeavors. And a special thank you to our audience, guests, and everyone else who helps make this crazy ride happen. Amazing things are ahead. Learn more by visiting www.baldandbonkers.net. See you next time. Much love, and take care.